The markets are roaring today. We got an important session ahead of us. We're going to be looking all across our favorites. The S&P 500. We've added a new one to the mix, the Russel 2000 by popular demand. We're going to be now including this every day. A thumbs up for that if you're interested in that. We're going to be looking here at the Nasdaq. We're also going to be checking in on the Dow, the DXY, big moves across the board. Gold piercing through some important levels over here. Silver down 4%. And we're going to check in on what happened at Bitcoin. Also, huge rejection down into an important level. We're going to do that all together right now. This is Jordan with Conquer Trading and Investing. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're not, welcome back. We're going to need to talk about some sensitive issues today because what happened, what caused this market meltdown, we'll call it, this market dump. Here's actually a beautiful look at that. I want you to see what happened over here. Look at this. This is all the indexes over here. And look at them being just smashed down over here. The red one is the Russell 2000 over here, which was up almost 2% on the day, 2.5% on the day, getting ready to take out an important resistance level. We'll look at that in a second. And you could see everything crashed. And now this all happened after a tweet from the president after he halted the stimulus talks. We'll get into that in a little bit. We'll look at both sides. And we're going to do that, by the way, in an apolitical manner, meaning we don't really get involved in politics over here. We're about the markets. Sometimes we need to kind of put up our grown-up hats and be able to have adult conversations when things affects the markets. Today's going to be one of those days. We're going to do that together. We're going to start over here. We're going to look at the S&P 500, and we're just going to retrace a little bit so everyone has really solid perspective over here. The markets right now, by the way, S&P closing down a little over 1%. The Dow closing down just over 1%, and the Nasdaq closing down 1.5%. Now, this is happening because at this moment, it appears there is absolutely no chance of any type of stimulus happening before the election. Now, in all fairness, the president did tweet that after the election, there will be stimulus. Now, I'm sure that is going to take place one way or the other. There is the question, well, depending on who wins the presidency, who wins the Senate, what that stimulus will look like. Of course, that's a evolving, fluid situation. We don't have the answers to that. We could all speculate, but at the end of the day, it's nothing more than speculation. If you do go back, right, to when I was a kid, when President Clinton was elected, now he was running on the fact that he was going to help the middle class. There was going to be stimulus measures passed if he was elected, and that never transpired. So you listen, on both sides of the aisle, politicians are politicians. We the people. We can't really trust what we're told. We have to understand people's motives. All right. That being said, again, we need to talk about the markets here. We need to figure out what's going on and how that affects the markets. But we need to do that with having as much of a balanced, objective opinion as you can. Okay. Here on the S&P 500, what are we looking at over here? We're looking at price getting now rejected. It was looking so beautiful, right? Markets were at an important level. Follow my mouse over here. You can see that bit of resistance. We were over there right around 3,430, right where we topped today. Had we been able to pierce above that, markets would have made their next leg up into the resistance we were targeting. However, when I said let's take a step back, it remains the same. Markets have broken out of this descending wedge pattern. It's a bullish breakout over here. Markets have since then retested, resumed up, retested again. This is when the president contacted COVID, resumed up. And now over here, here's where he ended the stimulus talks and markets have shot down. Now, is it for sure there will not be any type of stimulus before the election? Well, not exactly. There is the outside chance that the other side of the aisle, that they come back. Remember, they did not budge from their $2.3 trillion. I take that back. They came down from their original $2.3 trillion ask and went down to $2.2 trillion. Now, the other side of the aisle, right, they did actually negotiate up much higher from their $500 million original ask. Is it possible that they come back down and meet around that $1.6 trillion that the president was looking for? Well, anything's possible. It's Washington, right? So are the markets going to continue trading on stimulus today? Was this a reaction we saw? However, the market's going to be forward-looking thinking and realizing that sooner than later that stimulus is coming? Is the Federal Reserve going to be there to backstop this? I don't have the answers to those questions. We can only follow what's going on in the charts. And right over here, you could see, first of all, a couple of things. The important support at 33.39. Those following the channel understand why that's important support. We've watched that level often. It is so far holding, and also we have our trend line over here holding. Both those things are extremely bullish still. Is this bullish price action, this bearish engulfing candle that we saw today? Here's a look at it on the daily. It's not even an engulfing candle, kind of. Let's call it one. Let's say that within the next hour it trades lower than yesterday's open. All right. Is that a bearish indication? Absolutely, no question about it. Technically, has it broken down yet? No, it has not. If it loses this 33.39, do we start selling there? Look, I've said it before after we broke out of the descending wedge that as long as we hold and a retest of 32.76 is still quite bullish over here, it's just too soon to start getting married to this move. You're seeing a lot of loudness. What do I mean by that? I mean, look, we had a 1.25% drop, and then all of a sudden people are cheering, but they've kind of been on the wrong side of that trade for a while. So it's weird, but that's what it is. Bears get loud anytime price slightly moves in their favor. By the way, all year long, I was the biggest bear of them all, right? Here on this channel, we crushed this. We crushed this move. We crushed this move with authority. If it's time to be a bear, I'll be there. It's just not there just yet. Let's check out the Russell 2000 over here. We're going to start doing this every day. Again, if you like the sound of that, do smash the like button. You can see over here, I'm going to come onto a daily time frame with you to give you a better perspective. We were challenging today this resistance over here at 1608. This in that area over there is 1608. You can see this is where it was resistance, support again. Here it was resistance. It's an important level. We were trading above it today, but you could see over there, where do we trade into? Look at that light resistance. Why is that light resistance there? Look at these other touches I have over here, starting over there, right? I have more. I have them over there. There was the bodies over there, over there. So that was a light level that I put in, another touch over there, but a light one. We were rejected. We closed below the 1608 level. Right? But where did we close? We closed in a couple of places. First of all, we closed in no man's land. What's no man's land? No man's is between support and resistance, almost dead middle, no man's land. On top of that, though, you could see over here, if you follow my mouse again, thank you, you could see this area of light support. It's a local level. It's not a strong support level, but you could see then the touch there as resistance right there. And then over there, one peak, two peak. Right? That's where we're closing out on the Russell. So is it possible we hold here? It is possible, right? If not, what are we looking for? The right structure is still very bullish over here, right? By the way, I'm noticing, or I pointed out this pattern over here, that looks like a broadening wedge over there. That could be a bearish setup that's happening over here. It's too soon to tell, no question about it. We need to see what happens over the next 24 hours. Tomorrow's New York session is going to be critical. We need to see what transpires, or whether or not this was simply nothing more than an overreaction. I'm leading that this was nothing more than a bit of overreaction. I need to see the follow through. I need to see important levels broke before that I start actively trading in that direction. And we're not seeing that over here. You could see over here, we also have 1530 support over there. If we lose this little bit of local support that my mouse is at right now, then probably there's a good, strong possibility we come in first to 1551. Notice that's a stronger local support over there. Why is that? You see more touches right there, more touches over here of support, and then into the big level of 1530. What about what's going on in the Nasdaq? Let's take a look. Nasdaq got hit the hardest today, down 1.5%, right? But you could see what? Right away, my eyes are attracted to one thing, and I hope your eyes are attracted to the same thing. It's that this level over here at 11,280, that support has held. You could see also another touch right into that trend line over there, that light trend line support, right? So is this looking bullish or bearish? Again, there's not much else you could say when you look on the daily, and you do have on the daily here on the Nasdaq 100, you have a bearish engulfing candle. That's not a bullish candle by any means. But look over here. Just a couple of days ago, there was a big one over there. Not much follow through on that. Look over here. There was another big one over here. I don't, by the way, when it comes to any candlestick patterns, I don't play them, they don't take up any room in my analysis, okay? There's really little to no edge over there. It's not something that I focus on, but I do focus on support and resistance levels. I'm focusing on price most of all. Price is the only leading indicator, and you can see that this support here is still holding so far. What has to happen here for the Nasdaq to actually be breaking down where we're saying, all right, things have changed? Well, we're not even close to that right now, but it still remains the same over here. I'll highlight this level now. This is the level over here. Let me draw it in. That support coming in at 11,066. As long as we're trading above that, this bullish structure here is still in place. Trade below that, I get neutral, and it won't be to a breakdown. I don't know at this point, and again, it's an ongoing fluid situation, whether or not that would be the 10,894 support or the one below that. We'll take that as it comes. We're pretty far away from that right now, and it's too soon to make that type of call. We have to focus on what's in front of us. That's what we're doing over here. So we definitely had a bit of a pullback on the markets, not such a bad pullback whatsoever. If you go up to the weekly time frame over here, just take a look at what's going on the weekly, right? Here's a look at the Nasdaq. I want to give you a look at the S&P. I want to give you a look at the Russel, right? And I want to give you a look at the Dow. None of that, all of that, I should say at this point, still looks bullish. Is that alarming, this type of wick over here, right? Would that be a gravestone? Yeah, all of that so far doesn't look good, but there's still a lot of time left in the week. We don't know where we're going to be trading at. We have to stay with what's in front of us. Before I get into the Dow right now, let me finish what's going on here with the Nasdaq. And all I can say that, look, we're holding this area of support so far. Things don't look so bad. If we lose this trend line over here, even if we start making a lower low than the peak over the low today, then it looks like 11,066 looks like the next level we come into. Always watching the downside over here. Still looks good. By the way, those that are long on the S&P 500 took that entry right over here. They're still holding that trade with a place in break even. If you get stopped out at break even and you're pretty close, right? You're about 13 points away. No big deal. There's going to be another trade. The market's always there. There's always opportunity. We're looking to push our trades, you'll never make profit taking profit too quickly. That's instead of cutting your loser short, that's cutting your winner short. It'll never work. You have to be mentally tough in this game. You have to be mentally strong in this game. Trading is a game of self. Let's take a look also at the Dow we didn't get a chance to look at before we get into the dollar. And you can see the Dow had a big sell-off today. I do notice this. I noticed that this little bit of a channel that I see, right? I see that channel is still holding. It's this area right over here. It's very beautiful and easy for us, right? Very bullish, holding above 27,440. Still very bullish. We lose that level, right? After breaking, here we had a channel. Let me go ahead and highlight that for you. This channel over here, and now we have a channel moving this way. If we lose that level and break down over here, where does that take us? I would say that's setting off definitely a bearish technical move on here. We might see the Dow leading on the downside if that does occur. What else do we have? The dollar was definitely trading alive today. Look at this again. I know I showed it to you already, but I didn't show it to you. Here was the move on the dollar, by the way, after that tweet came out. Look at that sharp move. This is the Bloomberg Dollar Index. We're going to be looking at the DXY in a second, but this is the Bloomberg Dollar Index, and you could see that sharp move up. We'll see that on the DXY in 1 second as well, but you could see over here, this is where the resistance is. The resistance is at 11,074, still a little bit below it. And over here, similar situation. Let me show you what that looked like intraday. Let me come down to the 30-minute, and there's that sharp move up on the DXY, okay? And that came up right where into this area of supply. But this is the level that we're watching on the DXY. I'm going to flip this now. This level over here of 93.55 into support. We closed above that on the daily. No question about it, right? Where does that take us? That takes us neutral with a bearish bias. I said before, we have to break over here 94 in order to get bullish again here on the dollar, okay? So this is nothing more than a breakdown, right? Broke another level, but now we're coming up for a retest of the important level. Said that yesterday and also said it again this morning on the live stream. It's 94 that we need to regain here on the DXY to be looking for that bullish momentum again coming into the dollar. You not only have, that should be red, I'm sorry about that, that's resistance. I was trying to make it brighter over there. You not only have that horizontal resistance coming in over there, you also have this trend line resistance both into play right now. That's the level we need to break above for us to regain that dollar strength that we were looking at and for that counter trend move on the dollar. Is there anything else that I see on the dollar that's worth pointing out over here? Do you see this trend line over here? I'm just gonna see if this is something I'm interested in or not. So let me see. Hold on one second. I'm gonna clone that. I want to look on the upside over here. And I mean, is that a channel? I don't know. It's too noisy for me. I'm not going to focus in on it. What I'm focused in on right now is only this over here, this 94 level, this horizontal resistance, that trend line resistance. Get above that, I turn bullish again on the dollar. No question about it. But right now, although trading above the 93.55 was a little bit in the direction of repairing this negative move on the dollar, we need to get above that one. What about the rest? What happened to gold today? Gold breaking down massive levels over here. We were looking at it this morning and it was right into the resistance, right? We talked about we need to break that resistance to set off the bull move on gold. Now, I'm still holding a position, but I'm close to getting stopped out now because my stop loss is below that 1880 support over here. And you can see that we're coming into it right now. Still holding above it, but we flipped this area, 1904, into resistance again. Let me go ahead and switch that for us, right? What are we looking at over here? Just the same plan I've said all week. That's no man's land, right? Above it was aggressive entry. Above here is when we start the bullish move, right? What are we into right now? We're back into no man's land. And it's a break below 1880 that takes away that technical bullish move on gold. For the near term, I wouldn't short it, no matter how severe the move is, because again, fundamentally, the metals are still very bullish, and it'll just mean to stand aside and wait for the market to regain its bullishness, technically, before getting involved again. What about silver? Silver got hit down 4% over here, never able to make it above the 2450 resistance, never able to make it above the resistance, but it's still in no man's land as it's holding the support over here at $23.30. It hasn't closed below it. That's not all. As long as you're above this lower trend line over here, it's not just $23.30. It's the trend line coming in a little lower at $22.80 that we're watching. A breakdown below that should send off a bigger correction on silver. It remains to be seen whether or not this was, and when I say this, I mean this was this an overreaction, or is this now starting are we starting to see the signs of a bigger move developing? I don't have the answer to that. I sincerely don't. We're just going to continue following what's going on with price. We're not going to get emotional. Not going to get emotional at all. We're going to continue following what's going on with important levels and stay on the right side of the market. Now, what about Bitcoin over here? Bitcoin, again, also, just like gold, was testing that really important trend line over here. And then on the news, it got smacked down 2%, right? But it's still holding 10,570 support, which is a small level. It's a light level, but it's important that it's closing above it. This is the trend line that we're concerned with. A break below this trend line over here, that, in my opinion, sets off a move down to close the CME gap at 9,600. I think that this trend line over here coming in a little lower, around 9,500, is where we hold. There are lots of orders placed down over here into that area of supply. I think that they get filled. I think that we spiked up. And I do believe it is possible we could even trade down lower towards this 8,800 support down over here, which, by the way, is nothing more than a 30% pullback from the recent high over there, something that we are prepared for and expect will happen multiple times during the bull market phase going on in Bitcoin. That my friends, is a look at the market. Like I said, well, I think I illustrated that very well. Of course, here we had some damage done over here, a little bit of big moves. It hasn't really done much if I go to a daily time frame, and you can see that we've basically erased 1 day of trading here on the S&P 500. Over here, we haven't even erased a day on the Russel. Perspective. We'll call this perspective. Is that an ugly gravestone over there? For sure. No question about it. What about on the Dow, right? The Dow, let me clean that up just so I could get a look at it as well. This is on the daily time frame. Dow had a bearish engulfing pattern taking out all of yesterday's gains. And then the Nasdaq over here, the same. Bearish engulfing taking out yesterday's gains. But there's been a lot of ping pong back and forth. Still, all of these indices are maintaining their bullish structure over here. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Tomorrow's going to be a fun session in the morning. Looking forward to that. Today was an amazing session. Looking forward to bringing the same tomorrow. Have a great evening, everyone. Those in the Conquering the Markets group, I'll see you at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time. We have a live training session. Everyone, take care, and God bless, and I'll talk to you later.